So this diagram shows the monthly profits for company A and company B in $1 million. And we want to find how many months in the year did each company gain in monthly profits of at least $1 million. Now, first of all, what does this picture tell us? Well, as you can see, the end of the left whisker means it's the number for the minimum, and the end of the right whisker is the maximum number. The middle line in the box is actually the median, and this line would be Q1, the 25th percentile, and this line would be the Q3, the 75th percentile. So if we're looking at least $1 million, so then here this is the cutoff line, right? Now let's look at company A. The minimum is right here. It's $1.2 million. But because even the minimum is already higher than the $1 million, and so the entire thing is greater than 1, and therefore company A gained a monthly profit of at least $1 million for actually all 12 months of the year. Now let's look at company B. Q1 of company B is right at 1 million. But remember, Q1 has another name. We call that 25th percentile. What is the 25th percentile? Just remember, the 25th percentile actually means 25% of all data is less than or equal to this Q1 number. So basically for company B, you can say that this whole part, this 75% of the data is at least $1 million. Well, some may ask, what about exactly $1 million? Well, in group data like this, we care less about the borderlines. We are assuming that the data set is large enough so the borderline cases are negligible. Well, so 75% of a total of 12 months would be 9 months. So then if the follow-up answer would be asking you which company performed better, then we could make use of what we did in part A. So for company A, we just proved that the entire year it was at least $1.2 million if we look at the minimum here. And on top of that, if you look at the median here, which is the 50% mark, at least 6 months, that is half a year, has at least 2.2 million. And on the other hand, on company B, it has the same median, which means 6 months. Okay, 50% of the whole year is at least 2.2 million. But from part A, we know that Q1 tells us that 75% of the time it was at least 1 million. So if you take this versus this, it's pretty much a tie game. But it also shows that the upper half for both are pretty much similar. But if you look at this part versus this part here, this definitely shows us that company A has won the lower part of the game. And so by looking at this, we would conclude that company A performed better. So on the last part, according to the inner quartile range, which company has performed more consistently? Now, consistently, that implies that the data is less varied, the data is steadier, has a smaller spread, and the data points are more crowded together. And in other words, we're looking for the smaller interquartile range because 50% of data falls between Q1 and Q3. And so the smaller the interquartile range is, the more packed, the jammed the data is. So for company A, it would be this difference. So it would be 2.6 minus 1.8. And for company B would be this difference. So this is 2.8 minus 1.0, which obviously if you compare the two, company A interquartile range is smaller, right? And therefore company A performed more consistently.